And he wants the crowd to pick a salad dressing because Horace is going to bow down. Virgil is going to toss Conan's salad.
Gay!
And Stevie Ray is going to peel Conan's potatoes. I just like to think that I had the same look as Stevie Ray did.
Yeah, what do you mean he's going to toss your salad? What are you saying, Conan?
I don't think you thought that through.
Yeah, I don't think the shit talking is going the way you think it is.
I care less about this match.
Yeah, probably not the best showing. But I did learn some things in this match. Number one, they mentioned that there was an actual hardcore division. Now, I know they've been having hardcore matches, but they don't have an actual belt.
They'll get one.
There's a WCW hardcore title?
Flair tells Robinson to use the steel chair on Gorgeous George. He's like, it's not going your way. Get a steel chair. He hands it to him. So my question is, if Flair was president, what the fuck is Eric Bischoff?
Well, they mentioned he was the former president, but he lost to Flair.
So how can he do this?
I don't know. And commentary didn't know either. They even said, does he even have the authority to do that?
Then Bret Hart comes out and destroys Goldberg with a chair. I bet, in hindsight, Bret Hart watches it every night before he goes to bed. And this blatantly gives up, but Robinson won't call the match. Flair's like, yes, I give up. And Robinson's like, oh, no. There's a Buff Bagwell, Scott Steiner hype video. Buff dressed like Scott Steiner. It's really...
They made a lot of poop jokes. I'm Big Papa Poop. Flush, if you hear me. The big bad doo-doo daddy. And close your eyes and think of the perfect man. And then open it and you see this poop. So, yeah, a lot of poop stuff going on there.
And this week is WCW Slamboree 1999. We're in St. Louis, Missouri. And it starts with a video. Ric Flair wants to know who the man is. And Flair determines that it's Bill Goldberg and not Sting. So I guess they have to fight about it. Flair's also pissed off at Roddy Piper. And they're going to fight to see who's going to be WCW president. And then the bromance between Buff Bagwell and Scott Steiner has ended, and they're going to face each other for the U.S. title. Brian Knobbs and the Sandman are going to do something. Apparently, Little Nate is going to destroy Gorgeous George. It's for Randy Savage somehow. And then there's a big tag match or something. I don't know. And then Kevin Nash throws out the challenge to DDP.
The newly crowned heavyweight champion.
WCW's videos are weird.
Yes, they are.
Whoever does the videos or did the videos, I don't know. You should have watched more WWF or TV or MTV or anything, because you can tell what he was going for, but it's just very clumsy.
Could you?
I'm just speaking about the very opening video. I'm not talking about the other ones.
Okay. I'm going to be honest. I didn't pay attention to the opening one.
Fair enough. Well, Tony Schiavone, Mike Tenay, and Bobby the Brain Heenan are on commentary. Schiavone wants to know who's going to be WCW president after tonight. Heenan says Piper had Flair committed because they think he's crazy, but Heenan says Piper's crazy because he wears a skirt. Then Heenan says we're all fucked no matter who wins. So I don't think he's a fan of Flair or Piper. Schiavone brings up the franchise versus franchise match that's Sting versus Goldberg. Tenay says it's Flair's fault for instigating the fight, and he wants to limit their power by making them fight each other. Schiavone wants to know if DDP can retain his title. Tenay doesn't give a real answer, just says Nash has incentive. They kick it to Mean Gene. He glazes the pay-per-view, and then he gets to the real meat and potatoes. There's a lot of news breaking, not only in WCW, but the whole wrestling world. So call the WCW hotline. $1.69 a minute for that.
Of course.
So we open with Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko versus Raven and Saturn versus Billy Kidman and Rey Mysterio Jr. It's for the WCW World Tag Team titles. Apparently this is also a 3 corners match, whatever the fuck that meant. I don't think it meant anything because nobody followed the rules.
No, they didn't. I didn't know what was going on either.
Well, then they would like sporadically follow the rules because it started off as everybody just fighting. And then at one point, Benoit made a point to tag in Malenko, which was like, I think one of the 2 legal tags throughout the whole match. So yeah, everybody starts off fighting. Saturn does a belly-to-belly suplex to Kidman, tosses him right out of the ring. Kidman and Benoit team up on Raven. Then Benoit chops Kidman and blows snot on him. And you got the crippler crossface on the Kidman. But of course, Raven breaks it up. And then Saturn goes for a dive to the outside. Looks like he barely got anybody. And then Benoit hit Raven with a diving headbutt. Benoit and Malenko take turns beating the shit out of Saturn while the other one keeps the other wrestlers out of the ring. Benoit and Malenko just beat the shit out of everybody for a while, and Kidman starts firing up, but here comes Saturn. He does a springboard clothesline that sends them both to the floor, which it looked like he got the worst of it, if I'm being honest. And then Benoit does a flying forearm from the top rope as Saturn is on the apron. Again, it looked like Benoit got the worst of that. Benoit goes back to kicking Saturn's ass. He hits rolling German suplexes. Kidman breaks up that pin. Malenko takes over for Benoit. He's like the littlest guy there besides Rey Mysterio, and he's just a one-man army. Rey gets in the ring, and the ref starts yelling at him for some reason. Like, the ref all of a sudden decided that there's rules. And it's only for Rey Mysterio. I think it's because he was the only Latin guy.
Could be.
Malenko spits on Rey, and commentary asks how in the world can Rey Mysterio be admonished after everything that's happened already. Benoit hits Kidman with a dragon suplex, gets a visual pin. Raven gets the hot tag, does the three amigos to Benoit, and then Rey and Kidman get a turn. Rey does a Bronco Buster. Kidman and Rey do the alley-oop Frankensteiner to Benoit from the top rope. They try to do the same thing to Saturn, but Saturn turns it into a super bomb. We get some more bullshit. Then Saturn signals for the DVD. Then Arn Anderson slides in the ring, hits Saturn with a spine buster. And Malenko goes to put Saturn in the Texas Cloverleaf. Some guy in a DDP shirt and a Sting mask comes out and fucks over Kidman. So Kidman gets an even flow DDT from Raven. Malenko, meanwhile, locks in the Cloverleaf on Saturn. The ref, completely out of position for a long-ass time, finally slides in the ring. He looks at Malenko, turns around, counts the pin for Raven. But he does keep looking at Malenko to make sure that his guy didn't tap. So that was good shit.
And Malenko didn't break it.
He didn't, but Raven got the pin. So Raven and Saturn are the new tag team champions. Oh, and the mask guy was Canyon.
Yes. I guess he is a part of the flock or whatever they are now.
Sure. So Saturn, of course, was in his dress. What I found weird was that Raven was wearing camouflage shorts.
I don't know. I thought this match was kind of all over the place.
Of course it
and I
was.
didn't know what the hell was going on, but it was entertaining.
So then we get a DDP hype video. He's awesome, I guess.
These hype videos, can we talk about it now?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
They
Get
sucked.
out of the way. Oh, they were terrible.
So the hype videos that they were playing, so they did the DDP one. They would go and do a Kevin Nash one, and then they would also go and do a Goldberg and Sting one. And they were literally just them
The
posing.
same shot over and over again. Yeah.
Yeah, like Kevin Nash was raising the Wolfpack sign up and taking his strap down, but no fighting. Like,
No,
you're supposed to
no
be showing-
fighting, no explanation as to why they're fighting. No,
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah, it's like, oh, let's see how vicious Kevin Nash is. And then, yeah, he's just posing and taking his straps off and the music's playing. I was like, okay.
Yeah, so they had a series of hype videos that were exactly like that. So we can just go ahead and disregard that. Up next, we have Stevie Ray versus Conan. Stevie Ray officially is the leader of the NWO. Horace and Virgil are his friends now. You see, Stevie Ray just won a battle royal to be the leader, and after he won, Horace and Virgil got in line, apparently.
That's how it should be. If that's what you decide, then you have to honor it.
Before the match, Conan does his list of catchphrases. Then he lists off salad dressings, and he wants the crowd to pick a salad dressing because Horace is going to bow down. Virgil is going to toss Conan's salad.
Gay!
And Stevie Ray is going to peel Conan's potatoes.
Yeah. And it's the 90s, so I know that phrase is the phrase that it is.
I just like to think that I had the same look as Stevie Ray did. Because I'm like, what the fuck does... What?
Yeah, what do you mean he's going to toss your salad? What are you saying, Conan?
Yeah. I don't think you thought that through, man.
Yeah, I don't think the shit talking is going the way you think it is.
Well, they start off brawling, then take turns grabbing their own dicks. Virgil gets involved, and Conan seemingly fucked. Then he gets tossed out of the ring, so Virgil and Horace kick his ass. Stevie whoops on Conan for a while and stops to pose every 10 seconds. Then he goes for a top rope something, but Conan gets his foot up, and Stevie Ray completely misses Conan's foot when he dives off the ropes. He sells it anyway. Conan starts mounting a comeback. Virgil and Horace get involved again. And then Rey Mysterio comes out to take out Horace and Virgil single-handedly. And then Conan wins with a roll-up with Rey's help.
Yes. And boy, was it weird, too. So Rey tried to do a seated senton, which didn't work. And then he rolls him up. It was a very awkward finish. As a matter of fact, it probably wasn't Conan's best match. Maybe tossing salad thing threw him off.
You got a little too excited.
Yeah, it was in his head, and then he didn't have a good match.
I don't know, it just seemed kind of clumsy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe the tossing salad thing threw him off for the night.
Well, Stevie Ray wasn't any better.
He wasn't, but yeah, I don't know. Just wasn't the best match between them.
Maybe Stevie Ray doesn't do well with agile guys. The Flyers. Is Conan a Flyer?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it was just a bad match. Then we go to the internet location. Rick Steiner is being interviewed. He said Booker T knew Stevie Ray attacked him the last time they wrestled. Now it's going to be a tremendous opportunity to wrestle Booker T for the TV title. And then we see DDP approach Bam Bam Bigelow backstage, and this leads to a ton of speculation from commentary. And guess what? This led to nothing. I forgot this even happened until just now.
Yeah, no follow up on that.
Then we get Brian Knobbs versus Bam Bam Bigelow. Hardcore match, falls count anywhere. Bam Bam comes out with a cart full of Looney Tune weapons, and he starts throwing the weapons in the ring. Half of the weapons he throws like bounces off the ropes and just lands back on the floor. So he just looks like an idiot. Then they just have an ugly fat guy brawl. They were going for home runs with the cookie sheets. Then they fight through the crowd and in the back. Knobbs tries to put Bam Bam through a table. Knobbs misses. And then Bam Bam wins after a suplex through said table. Yeah. Couldn't care less about this match. Put me to sleep, actually.
Yeah, probably not the best showing, but I did learn some things in this match. Number one, they mentioned that there was an actual hardcore division, which I think this is the first time, or at least that's the first time I caught it. Now, I know they've been having hardcore matches, but I didn't know they actually had a division, specifically a hardcore division. And then, after the match, they said that Bam Bam was still the king of hardcore, indicating that he's the de facto champion, but they don't have an actual belt. He's just like the uncrowned champion.
They'll get one.
There's a WCW hardcore title?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Don't spoil it. I wanted to see it. They're pretty good at belts, so it might look pretty good.
Yeah, it does look good. That's the problem. Like the WWF hardcore belt was perfect.
The idea of it was perfect, too.
Yeah, this was just a Raven's Rules match without Raven.
Yep.
There was a Booker T. Rick Steiner hype video. This one actually had a story. Stevie Ray helped his brother win the TV title in a match against Rick Steiner. Then Stevie Ray saves Booker T from Ming. Rick Steiner then fights Stevie Ray and Booker T.
At least there was a backstory this time.
And that leads us to Rick Steiner versus Booker T for the WCW TV title. Nick Patrick is the referee. He has a porn mustache and a tiny ponytail. Just thought I'd make note of that.
I didn't know it was a ponytail, but I definitely said, man, that sure isn't the mullet he wore with pride.
I don't know what he's doing. I just wouldn't do it. Rick doesn't take long to start suplexing Booker. Booker fights back for a bit, then gets tossed out of the ring. Rick pummels Booker out of the ring for a little bit, then throws him back in the ring and just has his way with Booker T. Rick's fighting dirty too. He's choking Booker and using closed fists. Booker starts making a comeback on Rick. He hits an axe kick, an Alabama slam, and a missile drop kick. Just as Booker goes for the cover, Scott Steiner comes out. Booker deals with Scott, then Rick hits Booker with a Steiner line, but Booker kicks out. Booker throws Rick into Scott, then hits Rick with an axe kick again, but Rick kicks out of that. And Scott ends up tripping Booker, then Rick hits Booker with a Steiner Bulldog for the win. So Rick is the new TV champion, thanks to his brother Scott. And later, Rick's looking for Scott in the back. He runs into Buff Bagwell. Rick says he doesn't know what that was all about, wishes Buff good luck during his match with Scott, and they shake hands.
Good for him. And new champion. So good for him on that, too.
I think this is Rick's first singles championship.
That's about time.
So we have another hype video. The Macho Man Randy Savage wants back in WCW. WCW President Ric Flair says no. Savage then says, well, how about your girl versus my girl? Savage wants Gorgeous George, his valet, to wrestle Little Nate, Charles Robinson. Then it cuts to various times Gorgeous George fucked Robinson up. So it leads us to Charles Robinson versus Gorgeous George. Should Gorgeous George win, Randy Savage is reinstated within WCW. Robinson comes out dressed like Flair, of course. Flair comes out as well, and so does some muscular lady called Asia, who's bigger than China. Gorgeous George comes out with Savage, Medusa, and some lady that won a Miss Madness pageant. I thought it was Deborah.
I thought it so too, but it wasn't.
Ric Flair, who's totally dressed to wrestle, gets on the mic. He tells Medusa that he's always wanted to fuck her. And then he tells Miss Madness that he's going to fuck her and Medusa at the same time and gives them his hotel number. Flair tells Gorgeous George he's going to leave her for Little Neech. It's like, he can have you. Robinson gets on the mic and he says he's going to beat Gorgeous George with the figure 4, and then he's going to fuck her too. Savage gets on the mic, says Gorgeous George is going to kick Little Neech's ass. And yeah.
So everybody's been on the mic at this point.
So the match starts. There's a lot of stalling. Then they trade wrist locks. Then George gets Robinson in a full Nelson. Robinson reverses and then gets judo throwed. And then Flair gets on the apron. He pep talks Robinson. And then Gorgeous George shoves Robinson into Flair. And Flair gets in the ring like he's going to fight Gorgeous George. And then Savage gets in the ring. He cuts Nature Boy off. Flair tells Robinson to use the steel chair on Gorgeous George. He's like, it's not going your way. Get a steel chair. He hands it to him. Miss Madness ends up grabbing the chair from Robinson. Robinson gets pissed off at her and scoop slams her on the floor. Robinson gets back in the ring, and the ref ends up shoving Robinson on the mat. He gets mad at it. He defends the Deborah lookalike.
I just like how he's struggling against Gorgeous George, but he took her out with no issue.
Well, yeah. She's not trained. Gorgeous George is an athlete. This is a pageant winner.
Yeah.
So the match resumes, and Robinson just whips Gorgeous George's ass. He chokes her and then chops her.
It was so funny how he was choking her. Like, she's flat on her back, and he's choking her, and he's, like, kicking her around.
Yeah.
Well, you couldn't do that today.
I like when he had her on the ropes. Like, so unnecessary.
Yeah, and they mentioned, well, he's a referee, so he knows how to work the 5 count.
So the chops Robinson delivers to Gorgeous George just wakes her up, and she starts kicking his ass. Then Asia, who's bigger than China, grabs George and tries to pull her out of the ring. Medusa comes along and just casually kicks Asia in the back of the head. And then Robinson starts working on Gorgeous George's knee, softening her up for the figure 4. And I like he did that knee breaker thing. She's all at 90 pounds. So Robinson finally gets George in the figure 4, but she reverses the hold. Then Asia distracts the ref so Flair can slide in and unreverse the figure 4. Then Savage gets involved again. He decks Flair, punches Charles Robinson in the balls. Then he scoop slams Robinson, sets him up for a middle rope elbow drop from Gorgeous George. Gorgeous George wins, and Savage is now back in WCW.
Reinstated.
You want to have your mind blown?
What?
This was the best match on the fucking card.
Yeah, I could see that. It was definitely the most technical and entertaining.
I was so sports entertained.
Yeah, everybody played their part well.
Robinson didn't just like steamroll her. She got a couple, wrestling holds in, but obviously she's a 90-pound girl and he's a grown man, but he's a weak man. He took over the match, but then, Savage got involved. Yeah, it all made sense to me, at least.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it was believable, but you could get how we got there. And of course, there were cheap shots. You gotta love when a man cheap shots a woman. That's always the best. Like, first of all, you're a man fighting a woman, and then you cheap shot her. That's just...
Well, that's what makes it so satisfying when they finally get their payback.
Yeah.
Because Robinson is choking the shit out of her and, working her leg over and taking liberties with a 90-pound woman. And then she finally elbow drops him and gets the win. She beats Charles Robinson and she reinstates Savage.
Yeah,
so,
she did her thing.
But if she would have just went toe-to-toe with Robinson or took control of 90% of the match, that moment wouldn't have been as great.
Yeah.
There's a Buff Bagwell, Scott Steiner hype video. Buff dressed like Scott Steiner. It's really...
He made a lot of poop jokes.
He did make a lot of poop jokes.
I'm Big Papa Poop. Flush, if you hear me.
Big Bad Doo-Doo Daddy.
Yeah, the Big Bad Doo-Doo Daddy. And close your eyes and think of the perfect man and then open it and you see this poop. So, yeah, a lot of poop stuff going on there.
I don't know why Buff Bagwell had that wig on because Scott Steiner's hair was much shorter.
So it can be blonde.
Okay. We have Buff Bagwell versus Scott Steiner for the TV title. Starts off hot. Bagwell is all over Steiner, and Steiner cuts Bagwell off with a nut shot. I think there was like 5 consecutive matches with straight nut shots. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if every single match had a ball shot. So Steiner starts kicking Bagwell's ass. It spills to the floor. Steiner beats Bagwell while talking shit to the fans. He gets Bagwell back in the ring and beats the hell out of him. Then Steiner just decides to grab a chair. He swings the chair at Bagwell, who ducks, then clotheslines the chair in Steiner's face. Bagwell starts whipping on Scott Steiner, then the ref's taken out. Actually, Steiner pulled the ref in the way of a clothesline. Bagwell grabs the chair, then Rick Steiner comes out. Rick grabs the chair from Bagwell and tells Bagwell to climb the top rope. Bagwell does, and Rick Steiner just cracks Bagwell in the back with the chair. Like you knew what was going to happen.
I don't know if it was commentary or Buff, but someone said, "Good idea."
Probably Buff.
Told him to climb the ropes.
So Rick revives the ref, and Scott gets Bagwell in the Steiner recliner. Steiner retains the TV title. Then the Steiners just beat Bagwell's ass after the bell rings. And they're back, baby.
The Steiner brothers are back. What a reunion. But this is all new to me, so I don't know how this reunion's going. Like, is Rick going to be joining the NWO? Well, yeah, is Steiner still in the NWO? He's in the Wolfpack, isn't he?
Yeah, he played Wolfpack music. Bagwell's not in the NWO.
So, yeah. So is he joining the Wolfpack or not?
He'd have to. They can't do that. Well, we're together, but I'm in my own thing.
I'm not a part of them. I'm just with you.
Yeah. Well, then commentary talks about Sting and Goldberg. Then we get a Sting and Goldberg hype video. After that, we get a Ric Flair, Roddy Piper hype video. Then we get Roddy Piper versus Ric Flair.
Now, a little note, because I just so happen to know, because I watched that promo a lot. So the Ric Flair promo where he was taking all his clothes off, that was actually the promo he was cutting against Eric Bischoff, but they played it here for Roddy Piper. I just so happen to know that because I've watched that promo a lot.
Well, the winner of this match becomes president of WCW. So Flair comes out with Arn Anderson in Asia, who's bigger than China. Piper comes out alone. And then Flair fires the referee and replaces him with Little Nate. So that's good. And then Flair turns to Piper and goes, "You got something to say about it?" And Piper slaps the taste out of his mouth. Piper then swarms Flair. Flair tries to fight back, but Piper cuts him off every time. And then Flair uppercuts him right in the dick. Robertson immediately yells at Piper for choking Flair. Piper gets tossed out of the ring. Anderson works him over. Now, I firmly believe that if I lived in his day, Arn Anderson would be my favorite professional wrestler of all time. Just the little shit that he does. Like, he was hitting Piper, and then like he was shaking his hand. Like, he was hitting him so hard.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking love Arn Anderson. Every little thing he does. I just want to watch and study him. So Flair's in control now. He has Asia get in the ring and kick Piper in the balls. Piper eventually starts fighting back. They trade punches. Flair gets Piper in the figure 4. Piper gets out of it. And he ends up decking Anderson. Piper gets Flair in the figure 4. And Flair blatantly gives up, but Robinson won't call the match. Flair's like, "Yes, I give up." And Robinson's like, "Oh, no, I can't." Anderson gets involved. Piper chokes him out with a sleeper hold. And then he chokes Flair out with his sleeper hold. Asia gets involved, and he plants a kiss on her before choking her out, too. And then Robinson pulls Piper off Asia, and he gets punched. And then Flair pulls something out of his tights, and he knocks Piper out with it. And then he gets the pin. So Flair is still WCW president. But wait, Eric Bischoff comes out. He says, "I've fucked up a lot of things, but I'm not going to fuck this up." And he declares Piper the winner and fires Flair. Flair starts yelling at a child, tells him to shut up a lot.
"Sit down and shut up, and I'm going to get you kicked out of here."
So my question is, if Flair was president, what the fuck is Eric Bischoff?
Well, they mentioned he was the former president, but he lost to Flair.
So how can he do this?
I don't know. And commentary didn't know either. They even said, does he even have the authority to do that?
It's very strange to me.
Yeah.
There's a Sting Goldberg hype video. Looks like this feud started because they both wanted to beat Flair's ass. So then they started fighting each other. And it leads to Sting versus Goldberg. And the bell rings. They get nose to nose. Neither man showing a sign of fear. And doesn't take long for Goldberg to overpower Sting. Sting fires back and actually dumps Goldberg out of the ring. Sting starts working on Goldberg's leg, and he locks in a Boston Crab that Goldberg immediately powers out of. And Goldberg no-sells a suplex, gets back on offense. He misses a corner shoulder block, and Sting just starts spamming Stinger splashes. And Goldberg ends up catching Sting and slamming him down on the mat. I think they were trying to play it off like it was a spear from a Stinger splash.
Yes, they were.
But it wasn't a spear. Then Bret Hart comes out and destroys Goldberg with a chair. I bet in hindsight, Bret Hart watches it every night before he goes to bed. And then the Steiner brothers come out for some reason, and they beat the shit out of Sting and Goldberg.
Yeah, so we got no conclusion out of that.
No, we do not know who the man is still. But it looked like it was about to be Goldberg.
Yeah, they're just scared to have that outcome, I guess.
Well, it's a good old-fashioned babyface versus babyface match. You have the match, but you don't have a decisive winner. And they both look strong.
Yep, they got to fight to some kind of fuck finish.
Well, finally, we get Kevin Nash versus Diamond Dallas Page for the World Heavyweight title. And apparently, Kevin Nash is, I guess, taking revenge for Hulk Hogan, who's injured. Remember, Spring Stampede, he was ganged up on by DDP and Ric Flair and taken out of the match. So apparently they're using an injury angle. I believe he's filming a movie of some sort.
Okay. Yeah, he got the figure 4 on the post, and he was injured at that point, taken out of the match.
Because if anybody injured Hulk Hogan in real life, I assure you they'd be fired. So Buffer's back for this one. He says, "We've seen Piper and Flair. We've seen Sting and Goldberg. And now our main event, DDP versus Big Sexy." They start hot. DDP lands several blows on Nash, and Nash just swats him down. DDP ends up kicking Nash in the dick so he can whoop on him. Then he brings out cutters to expose the turnbuckle. And while the ref tends to expose turnbuckle, Page stabs Nash for a 2 count. And he starts arguing with the ref, and Nash tosses Page into the exposed turnbuckle. They get to their feet, start trading punches, and DDP dumps Nash to the floor, gives him a diamond cutter on the floor. Then he inexplicably tries to cover Nash, and then throws a fit when the ref won't count the pin. And he ends up getting Nash in the ring and makes the cover with his feet on the ropes, but Nash kicks out. And Page starts repeatedly elbow dropping Nash in the dick. And he keeps telling Nash to get up and knocks... He's like, "Get up," and knocks him down. Which I'm always a big fan of. Nash ends up mounting a comeback. He hits DDP with snake eyes on the exposed turnbuckle, hits a big boot, then the jackknife. Nash makes the cover. Out comes Randy Savage. And Savage attacks Nash, causing a disqualification. Then out comes Eric Bischoff and Doug Dillinger. Bischoff tells Dillinger to escort Randy Savage away. Then he tells Nick Patrick that this match will continue until there's a winner. And it's also no DQ now. So then the match restarts. They go back and forth. They do a sleeper hold spot. Page goes to get a chair, but ends up hitting himself with it. And Nash grabs the chair and gets nailed in the dick. Then DDP grabs the chair again. Nash kicks it in Page's face. Then Nash drops the straps, hits the jackknife, and becomes the new World Heavyweight Champion.
Oh my. Page holds the title for one pay-per-view, 1 month.
And it seemed like he turned heel within that month.
Yeah, I don't know. Because they called him the People's Champion, indicating that he was still a babyface, but he was very much acting heelish during the match. But it could just be because, it was Kevin Nash. He was so oversized that he had to just do what he had to do.
Yeah, that makes sense. Have the little guy be the heel.
Yeah, pull out all the stops because he's against Kevin Nash here.
Well, this was definitely the second best match on the card. I enjoyed it. I like that DDP kind of wrestled like Piper, that swarm shit. And I like that Nash just kept swatting him away. Page would pummel him and pummel him and pummel him, and Nash would just hit one move and completely take him out.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's why Page had to work as a heel because, he was just overmatched. Yeah, throw out the rules on this one.
But yeah, that was Slamboree 99. Wasn't horrible, forgettable, I would say.
There's some weirdness to it, yeah, but it was entertaining.
I think every match had interference, too.
Every match had interference. It seemed like every match was hardcore at some... Not hardcore, but, they're really lax on the rules.
I think that's just WCW in general now. But yeah, that's Slamboree 99. The next one is Great American Bash 99, Baltimore, Maryland. Main event is Randy Savage versus Kevin Nash for the World Heavyweight title.
All right.
But before that, we have ECW Barely Legal 1997. 7 professional wrestling matches were scheduled on the main card. One of the main events was Terry Funk versus the Sandman versus Stevie Richards in a 3-way dance. Winner earns an immediate title match against ECW World Heavyweight Champion Raven. And the other main event was Taz versus Sabu.
Well, we know they went to war, so
Yeah.
should be a good one.
Yeah, circle that one. Other featured matches were Shane Douglas versus Pitbull number 2 for the ECW World Television Championship. We have the Eliminators versus the Dudley Boys for the ECW World Tag Team Championship. And then we have Rob Van Dam versus Lance Storm, which might be the sleeper match of the night.
Seems like it's going to be a good one. I like Lance Storm.
I did too.
He was very technical.
Yeah, I enjoyed the shit out of him, especially his Baby Heart Foundation run.
Yeah.
But that is our Wrestling Rewind.
Good stuff. Good stuff.